Hi, welcome back to the Motor Guild. So today we're going to be putting some new lights in the back of the Mini. They're a bit different to the old ones. I have been putting off this job for quite a while because I do not understand, well, I do kind of understand electronics, but I just don't like it. So I've got my mate Lewis here to help me. He's going to be off camera because his hands are the most beautiful thing about him, so I'll keep them in the camera. But yeah, so let's get on with it. The keen-eyed would see that we've got a Valance with some holes in it, and that's because I want to replace the reverse light, which would normally go on like a boot lid or something, with a little LED that goes in that hole. We've also got these little red ones that are going to kind of work as a fog light, because I just wanted to kind of make the car look a little cleaner at the back. So we have made a little system. We've wired up this battery, which was in the Mini, and we're basically trying to work out which one, the red or the green, does the brakes and which one does the running lights. We thought there'd be two bulbs. There's one bulb with two different filaments. You can see there's two filaments in there. The green is lighting up the big.
Green's lighting up the big.
And then the red is lighting up the small.
Cool.
So that would be our daylight running lights with a red and, or daylight. Our running lights with the red, and then the green will be our brake.
Yeah.
Wow. Investigation. Adventure. How exciting. So this is the loom, and we've cut what we've identified to be as the kind of running lights wire. We've done it on the loom side rather than part side because basically we want to be able to remove the light. And basically this wire is going to go through the floor and into the valance. So if it's part of the light, you'll never be able to pull the light all the way out, if that makes sense. We've got both ends, and we're going to get the wire in from the extra LED in the valance, and we're just going to crimp it. So now we have an extra wire going off, which will then connect to the LED in the valance. So we're doing the same for the reverse. First step is cutting the loom, stripping the wire back, and we've got some fancy white wire because I'm stupid and otherwise I might forget which one's the reverse. So connector goes on that side, connector is put in.
Got to push it until it stops.
Yeah, boy. There you go. That's the reverse spliced in, and we've got our fogs. We're going to run both fogs off this live wire here, and then the LEDs themselves are self-limiting, so they don't need any fuses or whatever. The ground on these will just be grounded straight to the body underneath the car, or feed it back through the hole I'm going to drill, and then we'll just basically earth it. Is it earth? Ground it. It's ground when you're talking about cars, I've been told. Ground it in the actual to the car.
You want to be.
Yeah. But when you're talking to a proper electrician,
well, easy.
you got to get it right. So with all three lights in the valance, the wires have to come through into the car somewhere, which means I'm going to have to drill a hole. I've got to grommet to try and minimise any dirt that comes through with it. And I've just kind of worked out the best position is probably around here, because that's where there's space. So you see here we have the existing light, or that was on the Mini, and this is what I want to change it to. This was a 4-pin because it's got reverse brake and indicator, and obviously the running lights. And this is a 3-pin because they've taken the reverse light out, and this was what was found on the Mark 2s and 3s. So I want to have this. I think it looks a lot cleaner, but obviously we've got to do a little bit of modification to get it to fit into the Mini. So right then, so you basically just got to take this plug off, put it on this. We know the bottom one is the reverse because I've labelled it. No, I haven't. I've labelled it bottom, which is really useful. Bottom is the reverse. basically I'm going to match the red and the green to the red and green on here. And then the bottom green here, which is the indicator, will be this one here. The first job is just take them off. So we know that this one here is the reverse, so we can ignore it. This one is the indicator, and this will go onto here. So we've got to snip there. So use these to just strip the wire on both. I'll do it one at a time because otherwise I might confuse myself. Like that. Super easy. So discard that. Unfortunately that is now useless unless we fit like a custom connector to it. What I saw on Google for soldering stuff together is to spread out the wires like these on both sides. Before you do this, which I've just remembered, it's very important to stick the heat shrink sleeve over the top. I'm going to use this one because it just about fits over, and hopefully my solder won't be too fat. So that shrinks over. Now I can spread out the wires. There you go. Once you've done that, you kind of stick them together like this. Stick together, magical, and then you just twist them together. Done. No, then we can load up with some solder to like permanently bond them together. What you can do is you can buy things called like helping hands, I think, and they basically hold the wire in position. But I'm cheap and I didn't buy any, so I'm gonna just hope it works and we'll see how it goes. This is a professional way of doing it. That is not. Why is that not hot? Oh shit. Turn your soldering iron on, and then it'll get hot. We'll wait a few more minutes. Alright, so it's important to keep it clean, which is what I've read online. And you use a sponge, but I lost the sponge out of the kit, so I'm using an old rag that I've made wet with some of the rainwater out. This is so helpful. That's not the point. It's still going to work. So we've got a nice clean soldering iron, and I've set this up, balancing it precariously on top of the vise. So I don't know what you're supposed to do, but what I've done in the past is just mounted a little bit of solder onto the tip, just to get it going, and then you just feed it in nice and gentle along the length of the wire. Oh yeah, don't breathe in the smoke. It's really dangerous, I've read, which is why we're doing this in an enclosed space, because we don't care for the rules. So once you've done that side and it's nice and cool, what you can do is flip it over. So this is where some helping hands would be helpful. But I have a vise, which is much better, much sturdier. The first one went alright. So nice and clean soldering iron again, on a nice damp rag, or if you're proper, a bit of sponge. Okay. So I think that's not too bad from me.
Yeah.
What's she gonna do? Yeah.
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 Alright. Sweet. So once you've done that, this is the really exciting part. So our sleeve that we've put over, if you don't make the solder too fat, it will go over still, which is nice. So you can use two things to shrink the heat shrink. One is the soldering iron itself, but if you are team overkill, which we are, you will get yourself
A flamethrower?
no, you'll borrow Kenny's heat gun. Thank you, Kenny. And you'll just along the, and you'll see it shrink up. There it it is. Ooh. Magical. That is our reverse. No, that's our indicator wire attached to the indicator wire bit of the plug. So we'll do the same for the other wires, and we're just going to disregard this reverse wire because we're going to wire the custom little LED one we've got in the Valance a little bit differently. So I have professionally done soldering on the other two wires. Obviously our reverse wire is pretty useless at the moment because we're taking the power for the reverse light from the loom rather than from the light. So put it in. I should have taken the nuts off before we started filming this.
5 minutes later.
This way. Stick it in. Luckily, the Mark 2/3, what's it called? Light fits through the same brackets in the back of the car as the existing ones. Oh, I'm a numpty. I've forgotten the rubber seal. Brand new rubber seal. New rubber seal. Tis on. This is the normal connector for the old light, because we got the connector on from the new one. This just like that. Yes, done. Look at that. Wow. So, we've got the lights in on both sides with the modified loom connector tingling. So what we've done is there is a maze of wires here, but it does make sense. So these are the wires that we've got in from the loom that Lewis has previously spliced in for us. These are all live wires. I'm sorry if I'm not doing the lingo correctly to anyone who does know the lingo. So all of these LEDs come with a green and a red. So the green, or I just pulled it out, the green is a 50% feed, well 50% brightness, and the red is 100%. So what we're doing is white from the loom is going to go to our 100% feed on the reverse light. Our black, which was going to be a grounding wire, but it's not now. It is the 100% feed for the red lights, which will be our fog light. So this is basically spliced into the fog light loomy bit switch, and then the red here is going to our green, so our 50%. So this is spliced off the kind of headlight running lights bit of the loom, so that means that the reds will be at 50% when our headlights are on. So for the time being, what we've done is I literally just twisted the wires together just to test to make sure our wiring works, and it did, so that's good. So what we've got to do, because this is all going to be kind of exposed to the weather, what we've got to do is put some waterproof connectors on to basically attach from the from the loom to our lights in the Valance, and we'll basically put a connector from this, and then we'll put the connectors from the lights in on the other side. What I did forget to mention is that our ground wire, so obviously all these LEDs come with a ground wire, what Lewis has done is just stuck them all into one O-ring, and what we've done is I've welded bolts onto the back of this Valance. So what we can do is then we put the lights in, and I can basically just bolt a plate behind it to keep them in position. So what we'll do is basically just put this O-ring over one of the bolts when we tighten it up, and then that will be grounded to the car because it's welded to the Valance, which is welded to everything else. So yeah, that's it. So what we've got to do now is get the waterproof connectors on. We're ready to put our waterproof connector on. So we've got a female end and a male end. A friend of mine said that the male end should go from the kind of where the power's coming from. I don't know why. He didn't explain why. That's what he said to do. So that's what we will do. So the way these work is you have, I imagine like most electrical connectors, you have the female pin that goes into the male connector, and then the male pin goes into the female. And what we just need to do is strip this wire back and basically put it in there and clamp it up. But you need a special tool. This, which is a special crimper designed for this exact application. So here's our connector. Here are our crimps. So what you want to do is get it so it's in like that. So what happens is when the crimp comes down, it crushes this little tabs, these tabs around the wire. So it's good to get it into the crimps before you do it, because it can be a bit fiddly at the start. Strip the reverse like this. Magical. Twist it up. Then you get one of these tings, which is basically a rubber seal-y, what should we call it? Like that. What we do, put that over first, because it's like the heat shrink. If you forget, you're in a world of trouble. We get this, and you just put it over like that. You feed the wire through like that. Like that. That's clamped. You can just do a tighter one so you can work your way up the levels, level ups, and then just squeeze that tight. So that's now clamped onto the insulator. So that shouldn't go anywhere now. And basically now we just clamp up over the actual wire, so to make the connection there. That's clamped there. And you can just use the end of the thing just to push down again, just to make sure it's definitely bonded on. Boom. So that is our pin now connected to the wire. So we've got to do that for these two as well. And just remember this plastic sleeve, and then we can feed it in to our connector here. Right, so we've got 3 pins on. This is the connector, so they go in a certain way, and I can't remember which way it is, but it does help. There you go. Just to have a like screwdriver or something, just to help push them in, push them home. So once they're in, they won't come out. So you've got to get it right. So once they're all in like that, these little rubber things that you've had before will just push in to the holes. And these just seat inside. So the whole point of this is just to waterproof the connection. So none of the wire is exposed to the elements. Start with your fingers and then push it hard with the little rod you have. What? And they're in now. Nice and solid, nice and waterproofed up. We're just going to do the running lights. So these are this green wire, which means it's a 50% feed. So I've just put them in roughly in position so that I can know how long to make the wires. So the actual thing, where is it, goes up there. So I've just kind of given it enough to kind of do it, and we'll tuck any extra away. I'm basically going to just do them together, because then I don't have to use multiple connectors or anything like that, and there's no need to do it not together. Remember, again, little rubber ting over the top. It'll probably help hold them together whilst I'm putting the pin on as well. So I've just twisted the wires together. And here is our male pin. I don't know if you can see the difference. Here's the male, here's the female. Like that. In case you didn't know how it works. Anyway, so this end, like the female one, this end one clamps onto the rubber or plastic surround, and then this one does the wire, and then you push the wire through, and this third clamp does it as well. That's our green, or our running lights. I've got the reverse one there, so I'll go like that, and then I've got to do the final one because as we've said earlier, our earth is going to be bolted in under there. Looks a lot cleaner now. And then our full power, which is connected to our fog light, is going to be done the same way. So I'll just do that now. So we've got all the wires in. I need to like tape them up and clean them up. I'll do that off camera. Into this female pin, and all the other ones from the loom into the male. So we just put them together. So that should be connected. So that should be connected up now. So what I can do is put that one in. Damn it. Put that one back in. Pull the excess wires through so it's the connector's kind of up. And this earth will go on top of the nut, the bolt there. So hopefully wiring should work. And hopefully is the big word, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Right, so that's it. We've done our kind of Mark II, Mark III light conversion into a more modern Mini, and we also wired our custom LEDs in at the bottom, and it all works perfectly, except from the battery is on its way out, so that's why some of the lights might have been flickering and stuff like that in the last video. That's literally just a power issue from the battery. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and a subscribe, and share us with someone who you think might also like the video. And if you didn't like the video, sorry, and thank you very much for watching.